It all started in summer of 2019. I was getting ready to go out for dinner and I felt a lump. Hearing the word cancer the first time is never easy on anyone. It is probably one of the most difficult periods of my time. At the age of 39, when I was first diagnosed and during my first meeting with the oncologist, he asked me, "Do you still want more children?" There are so many hormonal disruptors we are exposed to every single day of our life. Because I do all of these things, I managed to fight the disease and I managed to maintain my immunity. It literally affects every single functioning organ in your body. Welcome back to Savoir Podcast. I'm your host, Tina Sharouri, and today's episode is a very special one, a very dear one to my heart, where I share my story and my learnings from my journey with breast cancer. This episode is made possible by Step Up with Asil, a socially conscious platform from United Foods. This campaign's objective is to raise awareness on the importance of early detection, the importance of prevention, to save lives and also keep you next to the people you love. And I must admit, this is the strongest, most valid point of early detection. We all are scared to lose our lives. We all are scared to be away from the people we love. And there's nothing more motivating and more inspiring to anyone, especially any woman, than helping her stay healthy, helping her take care of herself, helping her and inspiring her to stay there for the people she loves, to take care of herself, to be able to pour into the cup of those she loves. It all started in summer of 2019. I was getting ready to go out for dinner and I felt a lump. And immediately after I felt the lump, I went to have it checked because I was used to self-checks. I was used to doing my yearly checks, clinical exams. I was only 39 back then, so I hadn't done any mammogram. Immediately after I felt the lump, I had it checked by a physician, and then we went on to do the ultrasound, the mammogram, the MRI, and the rest is history. I was diagnosed with stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma, which is the most common type of cancer. And I underwent the whole treatment protocol. I started with a neoadjuvant chemotherapy, which is the chemotherapy that precedes surgery in an aim to shrink the tumor. And thankfully and luckily, the tumor did shrink. It almost disappeared before my surgery. And then I had my surgery done, and post-surgery, I had my radiotherapy done. So it was a 6 months long of treatments. I was announced cancer-free, tumor-free after the treatment. And this is a news that changes anyone's life. To be diagnosed with cancer, and then to be pronounced cancer-free. Hearing the word cancer the first time is never easy on anyone. You go through a phase of denial, of course. You go through a phase of, you feel like you're flying above your body and you're just watching everything happen. You're just listening to the doctors, what they're saying. You're even watching yourself do the things they're telling you to do without really comprehending what just happened. It is probably one of the most difficult periods of my time. The treatment itself is harsh. The chemotherapy is very harsh on the body. It's painful. The post-chemo few days were unbearable. The loss of hair, the loss of femininity, the loss of fertility. There are so many losses that happen with breast cancer. We don't always talk about it because whenever we want to discuss cancer or talk about cancer, we want to give a very positive outlook. We want to encourage women going through this. But I think encouraging women is partly also saying the truth and letting them feel that whatever they're feeling is legitimate and they're not alone. It's not easy. It's a very, very tough battle, physically, mentally, spiritually, at all levels. And this is on you. Now imagine the people around you. Imagine your family. Imagine your children. Imagine your friends. Imagine your colleagues at work. all of it is, because you're going through it yourself, it's a bit easier on you to understand. What does it include? How am I feeling? What to expect on my next chemo? So you live in it, so you know, you're experiencing it. But then when you look around you, at your mother, at your sister, at your daughter, at your son, my daughter was preteen back then, my son was a child. They did not understand everything that's happening. All they saw is their mom going through loss of hair, feeling tired, sleeping for days on after the treatment, being weak, changing. There's a big change, a physical change that happens, and it's not easy on anyone. The support a woman gets during her treatment is, I would say, half the treatment, because that support is not only physical. It's not only let's bake something for you, or let's cook something for you, or let's take the kids out for you to take a break. It's also very spiritual and emotional. The boost they give you when they tell you, you're so strong, look at you, you're always smiling, how do you do it? You're even throughout the treatment, you're working, you're at home. All of these things honestly bring a lot of encouragement to the woman, and they do feel like your lifeline. You wait for people to tell you that it's going to be okay, even though you know things are critical at some point, even though you read, even though you wait impatiently for the blood test before every session to see if your immunity is okay, if you can proceed with your treatment. Yes, all of this is hard, and all of this is a memory I would never want it on anyone. But this is also part of the experience, and it's part of the change, and it's part of growing. Because I think cancer and the cancer experience and cancer treatment is a growth experience, not only for you as a breast cancer survivor or a breast cancer thriver or a breast cancer patient, but also on everyone around you. Before my diagnosis, I was already a clinical dietitian. I was practicing. I had a very successful career. My focus in work was really very general. I used to work with children, with men, with women, with medical conditions, weight loss, and I still do. But what happened to me changed the way I see nutrition and the way I see health in general and the way I see medicine. I am forever grateful for the chemotherapy, for the medications I am on now, because they give me hope, because they help me heal, because they help me prevent recurrence, but also the shift in the perception of nutrition and the effect of food on the body changed drastically for me. I switched my focus to be able to raise awareness more among the women community on the importance of hormonal balance, the importance of eating healthy, anti-inflammatory to prevent, but also to fight during your treatment and post-treatment to help your body heal better. So for people who ask me, how did your experience or your journey change you as a professional, I would say it changed me drastically. The way I sit and I talk with women and I listen to women of all ages changed. There's something very important to know. When you go through female cancer treatment, most of the time, depending on the type of cancer, you are put on induced menopause. So you are given medications to induce your menopause in order to decrease the risk of recurrence and decrease the hormone production in the body. At the age of 39, when I was first diagnosed, and during my first meeting with the oncologist, he asked me, do you still want more children? Now, I have 2 children, and I am forever grateful for that. And back then, we had made a decision not to have more children. And so my first answer to the oncologist, without even thinking, was like, no, I don't want any more children. Because my focus was on healing, was on recovering, was on remission, was on getting rid of the cancer. So I was lucky enough to already have 2 kids. And I felt at that moment it would be too selfish from me to ask for more. I already am being given a second chance on life. So don't be too greedy. You already have 2 kids. And in fact, I went through the treatment. I was immediately within weeks, I had gone into menopause, and I continue my post-treatment pill treatment. But something very funny happened midway through the treatment, I would say, or maybe towards the end. I had a craving for being pregnant again. I had a thought of, what if I have a third child? You know, the whole experience of sensing death and then coming back to life brings so many new feelings within you. Now, obviously, it was a bit too late to decide on that because of the course of my treatment. And this decision changed after only a few weeks. But this is to tell you that female cancer treatments are life-changing for a woman, not only because physically she changes, not only because spiritually she changes, but she does lose a lot. And fertility loss is one of the main things that we don't talk about a lot. One, because breast cancer usually happens at an older age, so the woman is either after her childbearing age or postmenopausal, or because it's a taboo topic, or because it's a sensitive topic. But we know now in the scientific journals and research that the age at diagnosis for breast cancer is decreasing. So it's very important for women to be aware of the options they have when they undergo treatment, to keep their fertility, to freeze their eggs. There are so many options on that. And this is a topic that really is very, very dear to my heart. And this is something that we should talk about more. To go back to the importance of early detection and the importance of prevention, not only early detection. Yes, it saves life, and it saved my life. Had I not been to the doctor to check on the lump I felt, had I not been doing my self-checks and not being familiar with my breast, had I done anything differently, I think I might have been diagnosed at a much later stage. And so it's very underrated how much early detection can save life, because especially when it comes to breast cancer, the chances of survival and the chances of full remission are very high. They reach the 90, 95, 96%, depending on the stage you're at. So we cannot emphasize enough how important early detection is. And how is early detection? Early detection is when you're familiar with your body and then you sense something is different. And it doesn't have to be a lump. It can be any change you feel in your life, any new pain, any discomfort, sometimes hormonal changes that happen all of a sudden. You're not sure why it's happening. Ask, check, especially if you have a family history of breast cancer. And second is by doing your yearly screening. Now, depending on your age and depending on your family history and your genetic predisposition, you will be guided into knowing when and how and what tests you should do. So you go and consult with a breast specialist, a women's health specialist, your gynecologist, and ask all the questions to know where you stand. Now, I didn't have a family history when I was diagnosed. And when I did the genetic testing, I didn't have a mutation for BRCA1 and 2. And in fact, most cases of breast cancer are not genetic and there's no family history. This is why we emphasize the importance of understanding your body, of knowing you're normal. You have to know you're normal because some women have cystic breasts. Some women have dense breasts. It doesn't mean that you're more at risk. It doesn't mean that any lump is a cancer. Definitely not. 80-90% of lumps are not cancer. But you have to know you're normal. And this is the point. This is the most important bit. Now, to go back to early detection and prevention. So early detection, I spoke about it. Screening, self-checks, etc. Let's talk about prevention. And let's talk about prevention very early on in our life. Very early on, raise awareness in the younger generation, in girls, in teenage girls, in young adults, in their 20s, in their teenagehood, in their 30s. Why do we keep the conversation of breast cancer for women above 40 or postmenopausal women? Because it used to be the case. But nowadays, there is an alarming increase in the number of cases below the age of 50. Hence the importance of being aware of what you're eating, how you're living, what workout you're doing. And I am a huge advocate of the anti-inflammatory protocol. And I became a huge advocate because of the experience I had, because of the studies I made. I am finalizing my studies in functional hormones to become a specialist in functional hormone, despite the fact that I did my BS in nutrition, I did my 1-year internship in a hospital, I did my master's in public health. I have enough knowledge to practice and just continue the way I am. But my perspective changed and my convictions changed, and I decided to pursue more studies in functional nutrition. So if I am to answer a question on how can we prevent breast cancer, obviously there's nothing you can do now to ensure 100% that you will not get breast cancer. But there are steps to take to minimize your risk, to improve your immunity, in order that if you get diagnosed, you have enough good immunity and enough good immune baggage to fight the disease. When people ask me, you're a dietitian and you eat healthy and you exercise and you do yoga, how did you get breast cancer without any family history and my answer is always, because I do all of these things, I managed to fight the disease and I managed to maintain my immunity. And I cannot emphasize enough the importance of an anti-inflammatory living. And an anti-inflammatory living can look different for each and every one of us. The general rules is to minimize our intake of highly processed food, to minimize our intake of sugar, processed sugar, to increase our intake of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory food, of good oils, to stop counting calories and going on crazy diets, to reduce the intensity of our workout when we're drained and tired, and to stay away from endocrine disruptors, hormonal disruptors. There are so many hormonal disruptors we are exposed to every single day of our life. Right now, if you just grab your handbag and put your hand in your handbag, you are going to get a credit card receipt. And I'm sure you will. And this credit card receipt contains chemicals that stay on your fingers that probably will be transmitted into your food, into your digestive system, onto your skin, and they disrupt our hormones. They disrupt your hormones and your daughter's hormones and even men's hormones. So this is something you have to be very mindful about. The list is long. There are so many other things like the plastic that we use, the plastic water bottles that stay in the heat, for instance, that we drink from. It's kept in the car and then I drink from it. Big no-no. The non-stick pans that we use for cooking. Big no-no. The Wi-Fi router is very close to the place where we sleep. Big no-no. So the list goes on and on and on. You can just look up endocrine disruptors and you will see all of them. So let's say you felt a lump, or you just feel off and you go to your doctor, your provider, your physician, your OBGYN, the provider that you have, and you express your concern and you get dismissed, either because you're too young or because you look very healthy or because the lump is not palpable or because they think it's nothing, but you have a gut feeling that says otherwise. Don't settle for one answer. I cannot emphasize this enough. Getting a second opinion, not because your first provider was not good enough or your first provider intentionally didn't want to help you, not at all. We're all humans. And sometimes what we see and what we feel and our conclusions are not the most accurate. And so you getting a second opinion, you're doing it for your own sake, for your own health, for your own survival, and because you deserve to get the attention and the time you need in a consultation to get all your questions answered. Another very important factor when it comes to women's health in general, our hormonal balance in general, is stress, is the big S. So you've all heard how much stress is related to health, how much stress could affect the risk of getting any chronic illness. You've heard about the relationship between stress and your gut health, between stress and cancer occurrence, and it's not enough. Because when we say stress, we're talking about a major cascade of events in your body. And this cascade of events affects not only your hormones, not only your neurotransmitters, not only your enzymes and your gut health, it literally affects every single functioning organ in your body. And so the importance of stress management, and I repeat, it's stress management, because you can't just remove all the stressors from your life. I wish we could. We could minimize our exposure to stress. Yes, we could minimize situations that are very stressful to us. And this is something I learned and I started doing. And I started not only reorganizing my life and the people in my life and the things that stress me and the things that bring peace to myself. Definitely, we can do that. But what's more important is the way we adapt and we react to stress. It's how much, I wouldn't say how resilient we are, but how flexible we are. How flexible we are in dealing with a stressful situation. Because this is the difference. You could be faced, two persons can be faced with the same stressor, and their reaction will not be the same. And the effect of the stress on their body is not the same. And that's all because of the lessons you've learned and the flexibility you've earned in dealing with stress. So here I give you a very simple advice. It might sound very cliche, but this is the most important advice. If you feel like you're going through so much stress that you can't handle and you don't know what to do with it, seek help. There is professional help out there. There are people trained to help you, whether it's a psychotherapist, whether it's a psychiatrist, whether it's a life coach. Seek help. And again, get the help you deserve. You don't like this provider, move to the other. Keep checking until you find someone you're comfortable with. Because we don't know everything, and we don't know how to do everything, and we don't understand everything. No matter how well-read you are, or how well-educated you are, or how many podcasts you've heard or listened to, there are things we don't know. And this is why there are professionals there to help us. So my message today, my episode today, is for all the women out there. Whether you are a breast cancer survivor, or a breast cancer fighter, or you just learned that you have breast cancer, or you are the sister, the mother, the daughter, the friend of a breast cancer patient, if you're the spouse of a breast cancer patient, if you are anyone that is related directly or indirectly with breast cancer, and not only that, if you're anyone at all interested to learn more about the importance of the little changes we do in our life, the little changes we do in our mindset to improve our quality of life, I just want you to know that things happen in our life. Some things are easy to handle. Some are much more complicated. And in all cases, we have to deal with them. And we have to get to a point where we either overcome the difficulty, go through the difficulty, endure this difficulty, change, it molds us in the middle, and then we come out of it changed people. But the important message here is that throughout this whole process, you are not alone. You are not alone, whether it is from your close family, whether it is from your dear friends who don't know what to do to help you, whether it is from the professional team around you, you are not alone. And if you have questions, you need to have them answered. Now, here's the trick. Sometimes, and this is something that happened to me during my treatment, you will feel overwhelmed. You will feel overwhelmed that people are giving you too much attention. You're used to being independent, you're used to doing your own things, you're used to driving your own kids, to doing your own cooking, and then suddenly you feel like everybody surrounding you with good intentions, obviously. They want to help you. They want to do things for you, but you just want to be you. And it's okay to say that, guys, you know what? I'm happy to do this and I would like to keep doing these things. I used to drive on my own on the days of my chemotherapy because this was my me time. Obviously, my friends, my family, my spouse sometimes, my parents, they would ask to come with me for support. And my answer was always, if you want to make me happy, let me do it on my own. And each one is different. I had friends that I made in chemotherapy who would like to come with the family, with the friends, do the fiesta. Whatever works for you, do it. But don't feel like you have to do something because you don't want to hurt other people's feeling. What matters now, if you're in the treatment, is your feelings. And that's it. What matters is that you are okay, because you know what? People around you want you to be okay. And whatever they're doing is in an attempt for you to be okay. So if you tell them the truth and you tell them, guys, I want to be alone. Like today, I would like to just read my book, take a nap, watch my series when I'm doing my treatment, they would understand. So just be comfortable with the people around you. It's very important. Social support, familial support, emotional support is super important. And this is one thing that will help you go through this whole journey feeling well surrounded, feeling loved, feeling like I am looking forward to the next phase. I'm looking forward to the end of the treatment because I want to have this life with these people I love and those people that love me. Now, there will be toxic people around you, and there will be people who you don't want in your life anymore. And it's also okay. In fact, it's not only okay, you should set your boundaries. You will discover that maybe you're not on the same wavelength. Maybe you don't feel yourself when you're around them. And when you're vulnerable, and when you're going through treatment, and when you're going through sorrow, and when you're going through a traumatizing period in your life, you tend to become a bit more selfish, which is completely understandable, and you have more courage to say the things that you never used to say. Well, take advantage and say them. Say what you want to say, and filter your surrounding. Set your boundaries. Create this cocoon that you want to create with your family, maybe with your children. Maybe you want to spend 2 months alone at home doing nothing. Don't feel pressure to do anything. Keep the sanity and keep a healthy relationship with yourself, first of all, and with your surrounding. I hope this episode brought some light in your life. I hope it brought some hope if you're struggling with breast cancer. I hope it inspired you to do the things you love. And I really hope it also inspired the people around you. I want to thank one more time Step Up with Asil for bringing this to life, for raising awareness on a very, very important topic, for being active and socially committed to improving people's life, improving women's view on themselves and their health. And I am really looking forward to your feedback. I will be more than happy if you want to connect with me, ask me any question that you have. You can always reach out to me on my Instagram handle, share with me your experience, ask me the questions you want. And if you wish for a one-on-one, I'm also very happy to do that as well. Stay well, take care of yourselves. Put yourself first, prioritize your health and your well-being, and stay safe for yourself, but also for the people you love, for your children, for your family, for your community, because you are very important.